was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Amazon, excuse me, Answers. I am Jared, and today we are going to be discussing Wonder Woman Historia, the Black Label book. So, all right, here's the interesting thing about this book. So, if you ever wanted to see like a book that goes in extreme depth into the origins of the Amazons, Historia is the book for you. Like if you are like an Amazonian nerd, Historia is the one, and then I would follow it up with anything from the Clune and Conrad run because they really expanded. But so what this book really emphasizes, like the protagonist of this book really is Hippolyta, and it's tracing the origin of the Amazons. And the other thing that it really does is depict the gods in like really gorgeous detail to the point where Kelly Thompson pointed to this as like how good is the story next John? Extremely good. Like really, 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 really. If you're a fan of the Amazons and Greek mythology in general, this is a book for you. First off, it's drawn by like one of the premier Wonder Woman artists, Phil Jimenez. Whether or not you like his actual written run is irrelevant in this. He draws a very, very, very damn good book. Again, it's like what I said in my Wonder Woman artist book. It's like when you look at how much detail a lot of our Wonder Woman artists particularly were able to like get into the book, it's pretty staggering, really. But with this book really does a great job at analyzing a ton of Amazonian like politics, the relations among the three tribes, the relation of them and the gods and such. So what I want to do is actually start off like this because the trade features a section where they analyze each of the tribes, and it's like because you have the tribes of Artemis, tribe of Hestia, tribe of Athena, tribe of Hecate, and tribe of Demeter and Aphrodite. So the reason why that's significant is because all those gods are the female goddesses that contribute to Hippolyta. To Hippolyta creating Diana out of clay. And that's the way this story ends. Because what this story is supposed to be is essentially, it is a Wonder Woman origin story, but this also provides, I'm just getting the trade for Absolute. It also provides a lot of like real much needed context behind everything. And so it really follows and it shows Hippolyta starting off as like a regular Amazon, then eventually ascending to queen. It features a ton of god stuff. So again, if you're a big fan of the gods, definitely check this book out because this is one of those like I would consider essential readings for Wonder Woman fans and particularly fans of like the Amazons and such. So, and if you guys have any questions, by the way, throughout this discussion, you can go ahead and ask me and I'll answer them because this is going to be not only a discussion of Historia but on the Amazons in general, because I feel they're one of my favorite parts of Wonder Woman is all of the lore among this amazing group of warriors. And it's one of those like areas of Wonder Woman's lore that isn't explored enough. Now, that's why another run that I hold up so well. Yeah, NJ says a great Amazonian story only involves goddesses minus hurries and adds to the family. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, so what you have is, so it's like, that's why I hold up like the Clunrad run as well, particularly Trial of the Amazons. Excuse me, because Trial of the Amazons and the Clunrad run in general really adds to the lore of the Amazons in general and gives like and shows like how the different tribes relate to each other, the division, because a lot of times when we see the Amazons, they seem like they're all simpatico and like, oh yeah, everyone is together, where it's not like, obviously it's not realistic that that would happen. Luckily, we have writers that cared enough to show, what if there are other Amazons, like other Amazonian tribes, and the relations between among them, and like the main one, like the Bonamigdal, like the regular Amazons, like the, I think I'm pronouncing this right, the Esconkita, or like it's the tribe that Yara belongs to, and you see like the mutual distrust and stuff among the different tribes. And you know what's funny about that? It kind of points to, are the Amazons any better than man's world? So it's like it's kind of cool to see that like question at least raised in some way. And it's really, really, really dope. So, and then Phil Jimenez just draws the ever loving crap out of this book. Like, I'm going to share like one of my favorite images. It's like, I'm trying to find a good image, because here's the thing. This book also features nudity, and I'm trying to like not have that on the channel, but still, let me see what's a good image. I'll go with like this one, because in ancient Greece, they relate by like drawing on pottery, and then it's like you have this where it's like it's all the histories of these different groups is like depicted. Yes, Yara and her thing needs new developments. Yeah, or like a Yara floor book like you had in like before, because it's like you need, Yara is a character that you definitely can like depict well if you get someone that actually cares. Now, it's not to say Joelle Jones didn't care, but it's like, I don't think she did it the best way. We all know Tom King couldn't give two craps about the Amazon, so I'm not gonna deal with that. But it's like with all of these, like, see, they're relating the history of like all these different Greek history, and then you have like this dope image of Hera. I'm gonna keep this up for a while because that's kind of the indication. And the coloring and stuff really makes this look like it's like a tapestry, or like essentially like a painting on like a vase that's depicting Amazonian history. And I love when the writers and artists lean into the Greek mythological influences of the Amazons for stuff like this, because it really shows it shows your fandom for this particular part of history. And trust me, anyone that knows me knows that part of the reason why I'm such a big Wonder Woman fan is this particular like component of it, because I've always been a huge fan of Greek mythology and everything that like comes from that. And it's just the way that Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez really seem to understand this. And there have been writers that have really done really well with this, like Clunrad, obviously Kelly Thompson, of course, Phil Jimenez, Rucka, and the godfather of them all, George Perez. You notice that the 100% best Wonder Woman writers are the ones like the ones that everyone universally agrees are some of the best ones. Rucka, maybe not so much in his Rebirth run, but still, trust me, I'm going to cover that probably next week. But when you're talking about like iconic Wonder Woman runs, yes, it also shows the importance of Hera. Yeah, exactly. A movie theater. I'm going to get to that in a second. The best Wonder Woman runs that everyone holds up really weigh in on the Greek mythology, and that's a reason why the King run is garbage, because it ignores all this. But movie theater, yeah, because here's the thing about Hera. Hera is shown a lot as being like a vengeful, like spurned wife and stuff, and that's, you could do that. It's just the problem is that it's too much of that, because Hera, that's one of the things I liked about the Azzarello run, is Hera eventually became somewhat of an ally, albeit an uneasy ally, when it comes to like Wonder Woman. And yes, NJ, they should do that. They definitely should. It's like because it's like when you have Diana, considering the fact that with the Clay origin, NJ, first off, since the Zeus origin is no longer canon, there's no reason to like have animosity with Hera. And second off, when you have like the goddess of like women, if you will, like Hera, as it says here, and you have like the champion of all women, that's part of what like that's part of what Diana is. It doesn't make sense for them to be at such animositous, if that's a word, odds. I'm going to make it a word. In this comic, she acts like she does in mythology, plus her role as the queen of the Greek gods. She allowed the creation of the Amazons and a little into... Yeah, exactly. That's what they really should do. And you can make like Hera like another mother figure of like Diana and like give her advice and such. Particularly as a leader, because Diana in many ways is positioned as the leader of the Justice League, her own pantheon. So you could like have a story where like Diana goes through a crisis of faith and then Hera guides her and like helps her like put things in perspective. So there's like a ton you can do here. And just because it hasn't been done yet that's not necessarily a ding, because a great writer, not Tom King, could come forward and go, you know what, let's do it. And I would not be surprised, and don't forget to like the stream and share it, if in a later issue, Kelly Thompson really weighs in on that. By the way, if you guys have seen Kelly Thompson's like Twitter, she has been hyping up for future issues of Absolute Wonder Woman. And I'm like, say no more. Say no more. All you got to do is hype it up, and I'm there. I already pre-ordered volume 2 of the trades. Yes, in addition to getting all of the single issues, I will be buying all the trades of Absolute Wonder Woman at least, because I want to support this series. It's a fantastic thing. And then if it comes out, I'll get the omnibus of that. I'm going to get every version of this damn series because it's so good. But with Historia, it really is like, granted, it's Black Label. So, and here's the thing about Black Label. It's up in the air if it's canon or not. Some stories are not canon, like decidedly not canon, like Batman Damned. But it's like the way it kind of works with DC canon is that if it sells well, it's canon. If it doesn't, it's not. But they could definitely like use this and make it as the origin of the Amazons if they wanted to. It's not like there's like a lot of contradictions in the lore. Movie Theater says you could make her a similar role to the Wizard. She is a goddess and she will always test Diana's faith towards her. Yeah, exactly. You definitely could do that. And she tests, and it's like she goes, I do this to you not as an enemy, but to repeatedly test your worthiness as champion of the Amazons and the gods. And it's like, it's not like a evil, like, it's because I hate you or anything like that. What's your take on Hecate in the main line? My opinion, she also should be an ally to Diana and guide through the magical realm. Yeah, I haven't read enough of mainstream Hecate to really weigh in on that, NJ. So what I will say is, I mean, I get that like the goddess of like witches and magic makes sense to be a Wonder Woman villain, particularly with like the James Tynion Justice League Dark run, which I still have to do, and I will definitely cover that eventually. But it's like, do I think that like Hecate could be a good ally with the magical realm? Yeah, exactly. I think that like if they wanted to, that Wonder Woman could be that like Hecate could be used as an ally for like the Justice League Dark and such. And it's like it a lot like she is in Absolute Wonder Woman. You know what? Through her, you could also explore Olympus's view on humanity, dark side of the pantheons. Oh, that is such a great idea. Yes, you definitely could do that. That is a fantastic idea for that. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. Movie theater. See, this is what you do. Because you take these characters that, yes, have been explored in many different ways, especially Hera and the gods, because those characters have existed prehistory, you could position them in new and exciting. See, that's what's called actually caring about the characters, the characters movie theater. Because here's the thing: whenever people say that Wonder Woman is hard to write, I always reply with, actually, no, she's not. Because if you know the basic idea of the character, if you know how to, like, for the most part, properly use it, how to properly make the character like fresh, but this is a big but keep it like consistent with the way the character has always been portrayed. Guess what you can do? You can explore so many different, like, you can explore essentially the same story, but from another context, like this does, because they're essentially retelling the origin of the Amazons. But it's like, oh wow, who is the oldest goddess? Hestia, Hecate, or Nyx? I don't know. That's a good question. That I'm not really familiar with. I'm just sharing out this. I just want to do that. There you go. I mean, through every crisis and superhero, we know the fourth world's view on humanity, heroes in the universe. We barely know if the Earth's pantheons. See, here's what that was. I had this idea for a Wonder Woman event story where the Greek gods become jealous of the love and adoration that the Justice League gets and decides to take back over and say, your old gods now must reassert their control over the world. So they go to war, they defeat the Justice League, and it's Wonder Woman that has to rescue the League and then convince the Greek gods to, like, essentially, like, stop their war on Earth. So it would essentially be like Wonder Woman exploring, like, her warrior side, but also her diplomat side with the gods. Nyx is the oldest goddess. She and Gaia were born in a primordial world. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But it's like, yeah, there's any number of really cool a really cool, like, things you can do with this component of DC Comics lore that they really should and that they really haven't done of late. It really is sad how criminally underutilized the gods are. But it's not the character's fault. It's just you have writers that say, I only want to deal with Diana and Steve. I don't want to deal with the Greek gods or the Wonder Girls and such. And I go, bro, if you want to exclude these pretty key components of Wonder Woman, if you want to exclude that, that should be the first, like, disqualification of you as a Wonder Woman writer. I'm just going to tell you that right there, because you're ignoring what is essentially some of the backbone of Wonder Woman's lore. And I'm just like, bro, if you leave that out, what's left of Amazon besides Xena? Because part of it, because yes, Wonder Woman is like obviously the core of the Wonder Woman book, obviously. But it's like you also want the world as well to be there. What's your with your story idea, I feel like Hera was just being queen of her domain for a while. I see having a somewhat amount of care for humans. She's primarily focused on Olympus. Yeah, exactly. That's why I love G. Willow Wilson when she used advertising to find way. I'm definitely going to cover that run because that is criminally underrated, NJ. That is one of my favorite Wonder Woman runs ever. And trust me, and it's relatively short. It's like 25 issues, so I definitely could cover that. I've read all but like one trade of it, the one where they break up Diane and Steve. Remember, in the original mythology, she only cared about what was in her domain. Anyone who violated her domain faced her wrath. This included Zeus, her husband. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's like, remember, she was one of the guys that helped create the Amazon. So it's like, why are you taking like revenge on what is your creation? And it's like, I feel like that's why a lot of writers either don't understand the Amazons or don't understand how to write the gods per se. I mean, obviously we know that way too many DC writers that are assigned Wonder Woman don't get the character. Obviously, we know that. But it's like, look, if you're gonna write Wonder Woman, you have to sign up for like all of this lore that's associated with the character. Not to mention she used Veronica Cale. Yeah, exactly. It's like Willow Wilson honestly should go down as like a bigger Wonder Woman writer, because here's the thing about what she did. To your point, NJ, she took a lot of Wonder Woman's lore that had been either neglected or not used properly and essentially recentered it. She even broke up Diana and Steve and put them more as like friends, and they would stay broken up until King came on. And there's like a lot, and the reason why they put them back together is because when you look at Steve Trevor without Wonder Woman, he's not anything like important. Like, yeah, it's not. He's not really. He's without Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor is nothing. And I will stand on that run. In certain areas of mythology, it's said that Ares is the father of the Amazons. You can make it in a way that she is the grandma and views the Amazons as her children. That's a great idea too. That's honestly a really great idea on how you do that. And that way you can make it where like the Amazons are like the daughters of Zeus. Not of Zeus, of Ares, but they're and obviously because King likes it when daughters rebel against their parents. Mm-hmm. You can make it where like the Amazons rebelling against their parents is their version of rebelling is them being as peaceful as possible. Obviously not being pushovers, but being like Gail Simone said in that one panel that everyone puts around. It's like they're gonna first choose peace first. Oh, by the way, speaking of Ares, G. Willow Wilson did a great thing with Ares, where she made Ares a hero. So I'm like, oh, that is actually really, really interesting there before Tom King ruined it. But I really, really cannot stand it when like these writers set up great stuff, great story potential ideas, don't do anything with it. Not necessarily Wilson's fault, but then other writers come in and completely tank it. That's my problem there. That is really my problem when it comes to like a lot of Wonder Woman content, because it happens every time. But so what other questions do you guys have about mythology, the Amazons, anything like that? Because actually, Ares was such a good guy. He was following the Amazon, a close ally to them. He was a big fan. Yeah, it's like it's like so many writers think that because he was the god of war, he has to be the villain. It's like when you look at like Hades as well, he's not actually a bad guy in mythology. He's just like misinterpreted as such because he is like the god of the underworld. Oh, he must be evil. And I go, must he though? And then I'm going to move on to this other section of it. Hang on. I'm going to move on to this scene. So we see Diana being made with the gods. And then here we go. And then it's like, I'm going to zoom in here. And then there you go. We see the Amazon, and then the story literally ends with Diana being made of clay. Do you think DC should have a set standard for what's kept in canon and what is allowed to be retconned? Yes, I think there should be stuff that you cannot screw with because they are central to the character's lore or are important elements that really have to keep consistent. There has to be, in other words, the editors have to be able to tell writers no, because I get it if you're a writer of a character and you want to put your own like spin on like that character, like their lore and stuff, so you can say, hey, this is something I contributed. That's great. I get it. But you can't make it go so vastly separate. That's why it's like, I guarantee you that like most of Tom King's Wonder Woman stuff that he changed will be retconned away because A, that always happens. B, from what I have heard, a lot of people at DC don't like him as a writer. And see, none of that stuff is really permanent changes. They could even retcon Trinity if they wanted to. But that's my point there. It's like there has to be some things that you just cannot screw with. And unfortunately, King wanted to go back to the Amazons or Warriors only, even though he's going back to he took what Azzarello did and made it severely. He essentially ramped it up. That's the problem there. Like, it's bad when you make the Azzarello Amazons worse. But yeah, so what other questions do you guys have? What other questions? How would you reinvent her for the current audience? You mean Wonder Woman? I would stick with the traditional like depictions of Wonder Woman. Like make her like a warrior for peace, and that's not a contradiction. What you do is you have it where she protects women from like domestic violence and such. She does a lot of combat with like against gods and monsters, but she also does a lot of like advocacy when it comes to like the UN and such. You really need to emphasize that because that's part of what makes Wonder Woman so good. But it's like, and with the Amazons, I would really just like not really reinvent them at all. They're fine the way they are. And then let's see. NJ says, I also liked not all the Amazons worship the same goddesses. Yeah, exactly. That's what's really the Amazons like designs were good. The Amazon basically a lot of what made everything unique was like right there. It's so good. I mean, yeah, we always talk about the modern audiences, but we are at a crossroads for who we are trying to please. Fans DC wants, fans that pay DC, and fans who are or used to be. Who do you please? There's a way that you can definitely get all there's a way that you can definitely like please like a large like swath of both. You can do both. You don't need to necessarily like do one or the other. I don't understand why Nyx isn't as big of a threat to Wonder Woman as Ares. Because Wonder Woman is like is like the ambassador for like peace and stuff, a warrior for truth, and it makes sense to put the god of war, even though the god of war in Greek mythology isn't necessarily that like hostile. And what's up, Tavia? My day is going by. And yeah, the art by Phil Jimenez is god tier, pun intended. Like totally god tier. Yeah. So what other questions do you have about the Amazons, the gods, whatever you guys would like to talk about? What other cues do you guys have? Speaking of the book, I am wondering, Now we know that a Wonder Woman book is happening. Now we know. You mean a Wonder Woman movie? Do you think James going to take inspiration from the one? Yeah, yeah. He pointed to Historia as like one of the books. I think so. It's like I guarantee you, at least for like Paradise Lost, they're definitely going to pull a lot from this. I'm sure. Hey, what's up, Parker? How you doing, dude? We know that Ares and Hades are actually good guys in mythology, but what about Hercules? Yeah, that's the funny part about it. When you look at like Hercules movies, you go, when you actually look into what he did. Now, here's the thing, NJ. Much like comics, there are different versions of the story. Like there are some stories where like Hippolyta willingly gave him the girdle and fell in love with him. There were also versions where the R word happened. So it's like it really depends on what version of the story you're going off of. If it's known for that, I'm like, yeah, a little bit late, but where have we gone over so far? We're going over the Amazons and Wonder Woman Historia and like how the Amazons have been traditionally portrayed, Cameron. But it's like if you guys have yet to get into Absolute Wonder Woman, definitely check this book out because, and this is one of the books that Kelly Thompson said she read in preparation for Absolute. And you definitely see it because even the Hecate design is practically straight from the actual like Historia. Because I'm going to pull up the Hecate design in Absolute Wonder Woman. So here's Hecate right there. And then let's see. Let's see if we have a picture of Hecate in this book. Hang on, I'm trying to like. Oh, that's why. All right, I was zoomed in. That's why I didn't see anything. All right, so if I go to this, hang on, because there's an image of Hecate where she's like glowing or something like that. I think. Let me see. Let's see. All right, so let me see. See this image? Okay, that one's good. Let me see here. Yeah, you also have like the portrayal of like all the other gods as Zeus like glowing blue with like white eyes. It's really cool, really cool. But anyway, speaking of demigods, if we had Wonder Woman meet another demigod like Perseus, how would she react to him? Well, they did. He she kind of did where she met like all the other children of Zeus. So definitely did like visit that. So I mean, but they would probably team up and stuff. I'll be honest. I never understood why Hades and portrayed as that. Excuse me. It's because of from a surface level, the god of the underworld and the god of war should be like evil. That's why. It's like it's from a surface level. That's why. Hercules' wife in the mythos, is she the same woman in Disney Hercules? Yes, she is. And is it true that Hercules killed her due to Hera putting a spell? Yes, exactly. He did. That is true. Reportedly, that's what the 12 labors that Hercules or Heracles or however the hell you want to pronounce that. That's what that comes from. It's like to like it's like in many ways it's like redemption, or it's like Hera saying if you complete these impossible operations, I will like leave you alone. So that's why he goes on those 12 labors, because she put him on stuff that like he should fail, but he doesn't. Like the Nemean lion is like invincible, and somehow he kills that. He takes out the Aramantian boar and such. Holy crap, I forgot they could do stories with her helping High Father in New Genesis. They did that in like New 52, but yeah, they definitely could do that. She's technically divine and has help before in ways she parallels Superman. She deals with New Genesis. Yeah, exactly. They definitely can. There's any number of things. The story is completely true. Yeah, Superman deals with Apocalypse while Wonder Woman deals with New Genesis. That would a couple dealing with different ends of the spectrum. That actually works really well. I like that. Maybe eventually at the end of the time they could have a storyline where they bring peace between New Genesis and Apocalypse. In your opinion, how long should a Greek in terms of like that being an event? Okay, that's a good question because that is my idea for an epic Wonder Woman / Justice League event. I would say you should be able to tell that story in 6 issues plus tie-ins. So you could do like 6 issues plus like tie-ins for like the main Justice Leaguers, particularly like Shazam, particularly Wonder Woman, Superman, and I don't think you necessarily need one for Batman, or like maybe you kind of could, but it's like do that and then just like continue and just like do the event. So it's like, yeah, you should be able to tell that in 6 issues because you don't necessarily need that much. Like issue 1 could be like the beginning of the story and then ends with the fall. Issue 2 is the time jump, and then it's like Wonder Woman resolving to save the league. Issue 3 is like saving half the league. Issue 4 is saving the other half of the league. Issue 5 is like the final battle, and issue 6 is the aftermath. That's the way you kind of could like outline that. In Wonder Woman Historia on the Amazon, she is Clay. It is the Clay origin. It is definitely it's all right, Parker. They stick with the Clay origin. This, which in my mind, while I don't have anything against the Zeus origin, and I get why they did it, I prefer the Clay origin because it's more uniquely Wonder Woman, and it doesn't make her just. It's not. Because while it makes it easier for the general audience to get, it also like makes it just another child of Zeus saving the world story. So I kind of get that. Could be a yin and yang, Wonder Woman quips. Yeah, exactly. You could definitely do that. You could definitely do that. Comics. Speaking of Greek gods and Justice League, if you were to do a team up story, I would rather do like a rivalry, and maybe at the end, but like issue 5 of my series would be like the gods discover they've been manipulated by like Darkseid or like some other god, and then they have to team up with the League to fight it. That's the way you kind of do it. Kelly said DC allowed her to do a sequel, but she needed time to figure out the best story. Yeah, and I heard that like they were gonna do a sequel by Rucka, and then it was going to be like the daughter of Wonder Woman was going to be in this, and it would actually be like well written. And I go, if it's Rucka, chances are it would be well written, particularly Rucka at this time period. So I go, so instead we got whoever the hell Tom King based his Trinity on. Wow. There's any number of ways you could have done this well, and you chose not to. Wow. In the Absolute Universe, do you think Wonder Woman will set up both they basically implied that Wonder Woman is going to be the central player of the Absolute Universe, and that she is going to assemble the Justice League, which here's the thing, with a character that's been neglected or treated like secondary for so long by DC, it is so cool to have a universe that's practically based around Wonder Woman. That's really the best part about this, is like DC basically is making Wonder Woman the basis of the Absolute Universe. And then Parker says it would be an interesting idea or concept to see the Greek gods versus the Justice League. Yes, I know. That was one of the only good volumes of Injustice, is when the Greek gods fought the League. And I go, there you go. That's the way you do it. That's how you get me interested in it. But no. But it's like, that's the way you really tell a unique Justice League story that as of yet hasn't been told to the scale that I would tell it. Absolute DC, Wonder Woman, DC. Yeah, that is great. I have to be honest, I don't think Diana should be the leader of the Justice League Dark, as that should be Zatanna's team. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I get why they made Wonder Woman the leader of the JLD in Rebirth, which, by the way, that's the only Rebirth omnibus I really feel the need to purchase, because it's really a Wonder Woman story. But it's like, yeah, I get it. I mean, even New 52, when the team was created, that's the other thing. People like praise the Justice League Dark, and we're like, oh, we love this. so much of what people take for granted was the new 52, like Jessica Cruz, obviously, Justice League Dark. So it's like whenever you guys bash the new 52, remember we got one of the coolest like new Justice League variants. What else do you guys want to talk about in terms of like Wonder Woman lore and such? Because there's so much I'd love to talk to you guys about. And any questions about Wonder Woman that you guys have, any particular like stories that you, any particular like things that you would like to see on screen, let me know. I legit thought that your second screen froze. Oh, it's all good. It's all good for a second screen froze. That's good. Yeah, but just let me know if there's really anything that you guys would really like to talk about. We could talk about, actually, you know, let's pull up some absolute Wonder Woman. Let's pull up some absolute Wonder Woman and look at some fantastic Wonder Woman things. All right, here we go. Because there's this book is a feast. Honestly, with this universe, do you think she'll go Trevor or Superman? Too early to tell. Can I see a scenario where she goes with Superman, like dates Superman? Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do Steve Trevor because this universe has already been vastly in different scenarios than the traditional DC universe. So I think there is a good shot that they decide, okay, you know what? In this universe, how about we go for like, how about she dates like Superman instead? Speaking of, or I am wondering, any story from Gil someone that you thought was underrated? I mean, the Circle is pretty good. If I'm talking about Gail Simone Wonder Woman run that I think is underrated, Wonder Woman story, it's Wonder Woman Conan. That was great. How do you believe Absolute Superman and Wonder Woman will interact? I think that at first they will be a little, at least at first they will be a little bit like standoffish of each other, for particularly Superman, because remember, he's not used to letting someone in and he's used to being alone. So, but like, I feel like Wonder Woman being who she is, because it's implied by Cersei that just being around Wonder Woman makes someone more peaceful and hopeful. I feel the effect, and then that could be an avenue for them to fall in love. Do you think DC should put an equal focus on the Egyptian gods as much as they do, which is not a lot with the Greek gods? Don't overly confuse things, NJ. In terms of like, I don't think so. I think that like, look, I think they put enough emphasis on the Egyptian gods as it applies to like the Bana Migdal. Like, if you want to do like a storyline just covering the Bana Migdal, sure, absolutely. But it's like if you're dealing with like the general Amazons or like Wonder Woman, just stick with the Greek ones. By the way, so let's go with. So I pulled up some of my favorite issues of Absolute Wonder Woman. So let's go through this. This is when Matea de Luis was like taking over as like the artist, and every time I look at this book, it's like the art in this looks like it's a freaking movie. Are there certain Wonder Woman stories and concepts that you would love to see? As I'd imagine there'd be tons. Well, you could definitely. I would love to see like a storyline called the Argonauts, where it's like Wonder Woman and the Wonder Girls, all of them, like Cassie, Donna, and Yara, teaming up to like stop a threat or like to just have an adventure. That way you can also flesh out the Wonder Girls themselves and how they relate to Diana. And it's called Argonauts as a reference to Jason and the Argonauts. So you could do a lot of homages to classic Greek mythology story. And it's just my favorite image in Absolute Wonder Woman has to be this. I'm gonna move the banner real quick so you can see the whole image. And it's like, because when you look at this looks like an image out of any type of Greek mythology like movie. This looks like Clash of the frickin' Titans, people. Just the way that this is framed, as we see like Diana being small against like the Titans. It just, the more I see this, the more it really shows me that Kelly Thompson is a fan of not just Wonder Woman, but Greek mythology in general. But the other favorite that I have here, you also have Wonder Woman fighting a giant snake, and she blinds herself. And in my mind, that's a little bit of an homage to when Wonder Woman fought Medusa in Eye of the Gorgon, in the Rucka run, where she had to she had to blind herself so she wouldn't get turned to stone. And then movie theater says, people keep saying Absolute is Berserk on sanitized steroids. Somewhat like that. It's kind of like God of War, but Diana is not a rage-filled monster. It's literally just you take Diana and put her in this scenario. You took the idealized version of Wonder Woman. She's not changed at all. She's not turned into like a rage monster, which that was the original plan. And I guarantee you that this would not be as popular as the book is if they had gone with that. I still say that Absolute Wonder Woman is the best book that DC is putting out currently. Personally, I'd hope Kelly would go for. She's not going to go for Cheetah and Diana. They're not going to do that. She's never going to end up with Barbara. But you know what, NJ, you do you. That's totally fine. I think people are reading into that panel where she caught Barbara. It's like even Kelly Thompson says, yeah, maybe I write her as bisexual, but she's really not. So there you go. Honestly, they are crushing Marvel in their line. Yeah, exactly. Like this line completely saved DC in terms of stuff. And then we also have these cool backup stories of like Diana as a kid, and it just gets really cool the way they do this. So now we're gonna go to one of my favorite issues where she's fighting in the pits of Tartarus in like an arena. Hang on. So at first we see Kid Diana meeting like Demeter, and then Diana's fighting in the arena against like a chimera. And then this is where you know Kelly really gets Diana. So they're fighting, and then Diana has like the chimera in a headlock and goes, "Please don't make me kill you. I don't want to do this. You deserve to live." She's forced to kill it. And then Diana gets all angry. And I'm going to like, again, get rid of the banner. Because if you look at like the way Mateo draws it, he even draws like the folds in the skin when Diana looks very like angry really well. And then I just love where Hades is like, how is she so strong? And then Diana says, you know why I'm so powerful? Because keeping me here is unjust. It's shameful, and everyone who knows of it knows the truth of its injustice, and it demands a reckoning. But your reckoning is not today, Warden. No, your time will yet come. And in the meantime, I believe we have a game to finish. A question of two doors. That panel right down there is one of the best panels ever. In this panel, it's almost like she is drawing the powers of Darkseid, but twisting it. Maybe, yeah, because of like the red energy from that. I could see that. There's an alternate universe, so it's no, don't believe that. Don't, because the more this gets popular, NJ, they're not going to do it. They're definitely not going to do it. Plus, again, people are really reading into that panel. In fact, I'll show you the panel that people are reading into. Hang on, I'll go to the trade. It's like, hang on. Like, there's no way they would do that. I got news for you. Diana's rage reminds me of a Spartan rage, but of a different kind. Yeah, it's justified rage. Like, it's not like it's justified anger is what it is. So that's why it's so good and well done. Even make it where, like, by the way, the tattoos that like Diana has on her arm, those are like magic that's keeping her arm because she sacrificed her arm to let Steve Trevor escape from hell. Let me see. So this is issue. Let me see this. This is issue 3. Okay, so here's what that panel is. Hang on. Wait, did I already bring it up? Okay, it already brought it up. All right, here we go. So here's the panel that people in the Wonder Woman fandom thought was like was like baiting, and I'm like, it's not. She just caught her. It's not that. Just, guys, that's the problem with shippers. They read into literally everything. And this is not a dig at you, NJ. I know that you're one of the normal shippers. I get that. But it's like too many people tried to point to this. What is Darkseid's real plan for this universe? They haven't revealed it yet. I feel like he wants a world where he can control both sides. My thinking is Darkseid is going to take this league, manipulate it, and send them off into a conflict with the main DC universe. So can you imagine absolute Wonder Woman in battle with regular Wonder Woman? That would be really dope if they went with that. There is a real scenario where that happens. Yeah, I don't see why. Yeah. It's not. It's really like I'm like stop. Yeah, or 5 to 15% of everyone's community. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's like, look. Now, if you want to ship 2 characters, that's totally fine. I'm not against that at all. I'm just like, at least like be reasonable about it. But yeah, so what other questions do you guys want to ask? Because we still don't know what happened to the Amazons as well. Because in this book, the Amazons, first off, were the first defenders of humanity. So they're the first superheroes. So the Amazons were a Justice League. Oh my God, that's so, you said it yourself. They never do it in the main line, but they do it in Elseworlds. Yeah, but this is an Elseworlds that like everyone is like that's like getting a ton of attention. They're not gonna do that. They go fairly with that. Bio erasure is a crime. Yeah, but as I've said before, DC does not see Diana as bi in general. They do not see her as a member of that community because it's like, because Rocket can say whatever he wants. DC has, from what I personally have heard from people at DC, and you can look this up, when you look at like Jazia Axelrod, DC intentionally keeps her out of any reference to said to being a member of said community. That doesn't mean she won't be that she won't be supportive of them, because she definitely would be. But it's like, as for Diana being like a member, I need to see more for me to actually believe that she is in that. And again, if she is, if DC acknowledges it, that's cool. That's like the way you want to do it. Okay, that's fine. Darkseid doing it. Yeah, that would be dope. Absolute Justice. That could be the title for. Oh, that's an excellent idea. Absolute Justice could be a. Yeah, that's actually a great idea for the name of the league. It's like Wonder Woman even gave them their Hall of Justice, I think, in like one of these issues. In the first issue that like Sherman was back on the art. So there's any number of things that they really could go with that. It's really dope. And I gotta say, again, Absolute Wonder Woman has been absolutely, pun intended, saving the Wonder Woman fandom. Because if we didn't have this, we would be stuck with the Tom King Wonder Woman series. And what does it say? That this series, first off, by the way, it is even more fun to have the trade, because when you read the creator credits and the what's included, listen to this. Eisner Award winning writer Kelly Thompson is joined by breakout artist Hayden Sherman and Eisner Award winning colorist Jordi Belair and fan favorite letterer Becca Carey to reinvent Wonder Woman from the ground up. Let me put it to you this way, NJ. It's fine if you think she is. It's fine if they do it. I'm just saying I haven't seen anything, not even in this, to indicate that Diana's bi. She could very well be, but I haven't seen anything in this yet to indicate that. And catching Barbara does not count. Could they do it? Yeah, they could. I just don't see a scenario where they do that. But it's like, as for this, I just love seeing the Eisner Award winning, because now everyone, I say this every week, I'm going to say it again, we can now refer to Tom King's Wonder Woman as the multi-Eisner Award losing series. So we can call it that, because it was nominated twice. Once in its first year, another time in its second year. And it lost both times. And not only did it lose, it lost to the superior Wonder Woman book. Because I've said this. If at the Eisners, Wonder Woman lost totally, like including Absolute, it would be bittersweet because I'm like, okay, I would like if Wonder Woman won an Eisner to some degree, but then when he lost, but this one I was like, oh yeah, there you go. So it's like you have the Eisner Award winning series because trust me, it is rare that that Wonder Woman books win Eisners. Historia won one, to be clear. As Thanos once said, this brought a smile to my face. I need that as a drop. But yeah, Historia definitely won an Eisner. And it's like, okay, so you know what? I'll pull this up. Hang on. How often has Wonder Woman books won Eisners? Let's see. So you have True Amazon Best Graphic Novel. I'm going to go get that because I have that book. All right. So you have, all right. I need a shelf just for books that have won the Eisner for Wonder Woman. So you have Wonder Woman, the True Amazon, Historia. So we got that best award for a single issue one shot, and then Absolute Wonder Woman got it for best new series, and then it's like books that are awards that were won like for things associated with Wonder Woman. Mariko Tamaki for best writer of 2020 for her for some of her work on Wonder Woman. Jordan Belair, Clayton Cowles for lettering Wonder Woman comics. And it's like Absolute Wonder Woman, Hayden Sherman, and others have been nominated for stuff. So that's the thing. It's like it's very rare that Wonder Woman wins an Eisner, and it's like to see not only the crap Wonder Woman series lose, but the good Wonder Woman series get the recognition it deserves. That really brings a smile to my face. It makes me happy to see Absolute Wonder Woman's success because honestly, after so much, yeah, this is definitely like what's the word? This is definitely like the highlight of the past couple of months. In the primer, just like our co-workers, in some cases, a family. In the Absolute universe, they are the only line, if not the first line of defense. How will this league be ran? They're very different, probably, I'd imagine. I agree, Tavia. The Absolute Wonder Woman series has been great. Honestly, the main line, yeah, has been doing horribly. Yeah, we probably won't see him on the book for that long. Because when you think about it, with King heavily involved in the DCU as like an executive producer, there's only a matter of time before he gets too busy to like be involved in Wonder Woman. So it's like he's gonna like I get the feeling he will like step away from like main universe books or like books that aren't necessarily mini series, and then he will just stick to like like many books and such. So that's where I'm like I'm at with that. I don't honestly there is a scenario where he doesn't even reach issue 50. My prediction as it stands is that the earliest we'll get an announcement that his run is ending is past I would say December to like probably December earliest. Latest is probably mid to early 2026, like maybe March timeframe. And I always say getting an Eisner for a Wonder Woman series is kind of, yeah, exactly. Alone put Kelly at the, yeah, exactly. If they do that, because again, imagine a Wonder Woman series by her and Matea De Luis. That is the biggest glow up you could ever get if you went with that. If Kelly Thompson took over the Wonder Woman book, I think we would be in stellar shape because I think that she would retcon out a lot of the BS that King did, and she stands the best chance of redeeming a lot of the elements that maybe people really didn't like. So again, we're really just in a waiting game. Because again, it's like there's nothing we can do right now except boycott the main Wonder Woman book, which that's my thing, and glow up the crap out of Absolute Wonder Woman. Just keep it going, because if this keeps doing well and regular Wonder Woman keeps like If Absolute keeps doing well and mainstream Wonder Woman keeps collapsing, it's only a matter of time. Plus, with Trinity completely flopping, like, I got news for you. I said this on Super Wonder, it's just going to come out tomorrow, that I would say that this recent issue approaches the 150 mark. With this series completely flopping, I don't think a lot of King stuff will be sticking around. Like, this is a repudiation of Trinity, because if you notice, even the shills, like, when AIPT gives the book a 4 out of 10, which is pretty much like, because remember, a lot of the review sites, if they want to keep getting reviews, are forbidden to give a series below a 7. So if AIPT gave last month's issue, like this month's issue, I mean, gave issue 3 a 4 out of 10, that is a big, like, repudiation of Tom King. So that should be very concerned. That is very concerning. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And I really, really, really think we're approaching a Wonder Woman renaissance. I really do. I mean, so any other quick questions you guys have? I'm just going to change my headphones real quick. AirPods. Okay, there you go. I have a question. Are you planning on doing another crossover episode, like Wonder Woman crossover with Kratos? You could do. You mean for Super Wonder? Yeah, Britt and I can do that. That'd be actually kind of cool. Yeah, and we could talk about how Absolute Wonder Woman almost was that. That would actually be really cool, Parker. I'll talk to Britt about that. Maybe we'll put that as like as an episode that we're going to explore. I just let Britt know. There you go. Wow, I had no idea AIP. Yeah. The fact that AIPT gave it a 4 out of 10 indicates even they are done with Trinity. When, by the way, I'm just waiting to make sure my headphones start charging. Let me make sure that this thing gets going. Yeah. When the weaknesses that they gave to the series, when the strengths are just what's the word? When the strengths are just like the panel layout and the corgis, but the weaknesses, number one is the overemphasis on Steve Trevor is getting a little old, is a enduring weakness. That's something right there. That should be telling DC, burn Steve Trevor to the ground. Sure, Jared, as I thought it was interesting that both Wonder Woman and Kratos are the children of Zeus, and one is an Amazon and the other is Spartan. Oh, yeah, definitely. Britt and I are definitely going to do that as a crossover episode and talk about like the arcs and redemption that we could do. There is like a metric ton of really cool stuff that we can do if you wanted to cross over Wonder Woman and Kratos. Yeah, we're definitely going to do that episode. That would be a fantastic episode. We can even talk about the similarities with Absolute Wonder Woman and such. So there's going to be a lot that we can do. Yeah, so what else do you guys want to like talk about before we wrap up? What other things? And you just know Kelly will bring back Hippolyta. Yeah. I know that. I think that she would. I think that she would, because she, unlike Tom King, respects, or at least even if she doesn't bring them back, she will have Hippolyta play a role with Wonder Woman. So it's only a matter of time before we get the proper Wonder Woman like lore and content being restored to continuity. You just know it's gonna happen eventually. So we're just in a waiting game, and trust me, I know the waiting is the hardest part because I'm dealing with that. But once we get like done with the waiting, it's going to be really, really, really simple. It's going to be, again, really good here. Is the mainline Wonder Woman series coming to an end or close to it? As I hear from some, it's close to the end point, or so the rumors I hear. First off, Parker, who's saying those rumors? Because I'd love to check those out. The current arc is dealing with Wonder Woman and Mouse Man, and I think that series, I still maintain that it's possible that series is the last one, or it could be what they're doing, because this is issue 24 or such. It could be they're going to wait until he reaches issue 30 so they can like end on a 10 issue, in other words, before he moves on to another issue. So we just really have to see like what's going to be, because trust me, if he is approaching the end, I honestly don't know, but that's what I keep hearing from many. It could be he's approaching the end of his run, and that would be fantastic, because then I'd be right and we'd get an actual good writer. So we'll see. Plus the fact King doesn't like the book. He doesn't like Wonder Woman. In fact, in my mind, he hates Wonder Woman, and I can do an entire stream on that. And I really feel like he's wrapping it up soon. I really feel like that, and that would be really good. I think that like Trinity will end, and it'll set up how he's going to end his run, and then we'll be done with that. I wonder, what are our chances DC will emphasize Diana and Barbara love each other? No, that's not going to happen, because they need to be able to show the Wonder Woman movie overseas. And I got news for you. If they do that, they're not going to be able to do that. There's going to be boycotts internationally. They're not going to be able to do that. I think she will definitely bring her back ASAP. Yeah, exactly, NJ. I'm not saying I can't see that happening. I'm just saying in the event that it doesn't, this is another way that they could still tell that story. But personally, I agree with you. I do think that they're going to bring back Hippolyta, particularly since they could just make Hera the other god, plus they're de-emphasizing Mary Marvel. So there's any number of ways that they could do that. So we'll see. We'll see. But there's definitely there's definitely a high possibility that they do that when they move on to a new writer. There definitely is. There definitely is. But yeah, so what other questions do you guys have before I wrap up? I want another volume of her and AJ Lee's Legend of Wonder Woman. Oh, me too. Oh, Mesh. Oh my gosh, me too. That is such a fantastic series. Like, oh my gosh. It's one of the like most underrated Wonder Woman stories that has been told recently. There is so much that they could really use with that. It's like the way that they really like respect Wonder Woman's lore, the way that they like that they have Diana again still be Diana even as a kid, if that makes sense. There's like so much in there. Question: speaking of crossovers, other characters interact with Spawn. I don't think I wouldn't have her interact with Spawn. I just wouldn't. So that's my answer to that. I don't think she's compatible with Spawn. But yeah, so all right, I think that's a good place to leave it. So overall, I rate Historia at a solid 9 out of 10. It's a great story, great arc, and I look forward to more. So next week, so what do you guys think? G. Willow Wilson, or do you guys want to do Rebirth Rucka? We can do those as an option, or you know what? I'll do a poll. Let's do a poll. All right, so let me do this. Sign in here. I'm going to do a poll for this. So let's do this. All right, so next week's topic. Hang on. G. Willow Wilson, Greg Rucka, Rebirth. Let's do Steve Orlando. We can do, let's see what other ones. Children of the Gods, Rebirth. All right, so let's go with that. Start poll. All right, the poll is live, so you guys can go ahead and vote. And yeah, so as you guys vote, I'm gonna give you guys like what's going on for Comics League. So tomorrow, Britt and I are releasing Super Wonder Legacy episodes where we talk about the best and worst animated adaptations of Superman and Wonder Woman, and what makes a good adaptation and such. And we'll be reviewing the issue 3 of Trinity. For Wonder Woman Wednesday, also Britt and I are going to be doing an episode analyzing the fatal flaw of Tom King's Wonder Woman, which is its overemphasis on Steve Trevor. And then for Under Two Capes, Robert and I are going to be analyzing the Philip Kennedy Johnson run on Aliens. And then for next week's Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I will be comparing Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship to Gambit and Rogue. And for movie night, I gotta talk to the guys about what they want to do for movie night. Plus, Wade brought her back to all powers in JLU when Diana said, "You have the wisdom of Solomon, no sign of the New Order." Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do with that. But yeah, so, and then obviously I'm waiting to see what you guys want for Amazon answers. And then, yeah, either of those options are totally fine with me because I have all those trades available. And then we can go off of that. So let's see what's winning. So far, G. Willow Wilson is winning. Steve Orlando has 0 things. To be clear, in terms of all those runs will still be talked about for sure. It's just which ones do I want to do first. So far it's G. Willow Wilson. And Cameron says y'all could start the DCEU. I'll ask the boys on that, and then we can talk about that because that is an option. We'll just start covering all the DCEU movies. So yeah, so by Children of the Gods is the storyline where Grail is killing gods to energize Darkseid, and this is where we have Diana teaming up with the other children of Zeus. So that's the idea of the story. But it looks like G. Willow Wilson is really winning, so that's great. I love that. Orlando was great too, to be honest. Yeah, Orlando was fun as well, and he actually recanonized Super Wonder, and I'll talk about that when I inevitably cover him. But it looks like G. Willow Wilson is the winner. I'm just going to end it here. And yeah, okay, so we're going to talk about the G. Willow Wilson run on Wonder Woman. All right, the people have spoken. Now again, I'm still going to cover those other stories and arcs and runs for sure. It's just that's what I'm going to cover this time. I think I'll do that every time, right? Give you guys options and we'll do polls on that. That's actually a good idea to do it. All right, so G. Willow Wilson, one of the best Wonder Woman runs in my opinion. But anyway, so stay heroic, everyone. Remember Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs. Where does Steve Trevor belong? Probably in a septic tank or in a silo, in a grain silo or something like that. Zois and Max the Bat for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.